need a award show band to play us in.
Yeah, we need a politically correct comedian for sure. Greetings and fist bumps. This is the Raised Eyebrow podcast, where we discuss how people just peopling can make it weird to be a person sometimes. Because somebody's got to do it. And we are your hosts, Kojo, Mike, and Alex. This week, it's our awards show. That's right, we've gone full Hollywood. Minus the scandals, money, fame, and tabloids, of course. But now we're just like everyone else. Well, not quite. This is the Raisies. In this awards show, we have your typical categories, but we also just made up a bunch of awards for things we thought deserve an award. And like always, we're just going to end up doing what we want anyways. So here we go, the awards show all award shows wish they could be. The Raisies.
Okay.
Yeah.
So
Let's dive in.
So let's explain the concept of the Raisies. So it's our awards that we're giving out for the past year for things that didn't necessarily happen in the past year, but things that we did or saw or listened to or whatever in the past year that impressed us. So It's our self-indulgent awards. I don't know. Conversation.
Yeah, there's no committees either.
Yeah.
No politics in the award shows.
Not that we know of.
Yeah, pretty much just what we could actually think of when we were writing the script for the show. That was the
because
committee.
Content creation.
Yeah, you know.
And if no one's gonna do it, we have to do it.
Exactly.
Right.
Yeah.
Somebody's got to. All right. So first award, Alex. Why don't you get things started?
Yeah, I'm a big TV watcher, so I actually have 3 awards for 3 different TV genres.
Oh wow.
That's the kind of that's just how I roll. Again, we just make shit up. So, best TV drama. That was for me. That's Maid. I think it was produced by Netflix. It's about a woman who's a maid, but she also recently just gave birth, or she has a young child, and she needs to take care of this child. But she had to flee her abusive boyfriend in order to protect the child and protect her and get out of this abusive situation. And she's trying to essentially get her life back on track for the sake of her child's well-being. But the system is just not set up to help her do that, even though everybody claims that it is. So she finds her way going through like shelters and seeking help from other people. And just like that struggle that she has to go through, such an emotional ride, but it's so worth it in the end.
I have not seen Maid, so I have nothing to contribute to this conversation, but I will say that I hear good things. The actress is Margaret Qualley. Is that right?
There you go.
Yeah. I hear it's a good show. It's
so good.
I hear it's like very like frustrating. Like you're really rooting for this girl, and it's like the system. I guess it's like a reflection of going up against the system. That's
or trying to like work with the system. Like the system's supposed to help you, but it just doesn't help people. Like that's the whole point of the show. It's supposed to be helping these people, like to move them into a better opportunity in life. But through all of the politics and just stupid practices they have in the system, it just works against people, like whether they're going through the foster system or just like battered wives trying to seek shelter, trying to go from a shelter to actually establishing a job and income, because a lot of times it's like, well, like if the woman has her bank account with like her husband, all her money's tied up in there, he could just take all the money out, and she has like no bank account, or if she had to like flee in the middle of the night, it's like, okay, well, where's her social security number? Well, back at my house that I don't want to go back to.
So I don't get beaten up.
Right.
Yeah.
That's what I'm trying to escape from. Yeah.
Sometimes I'm like, who are they trying to protect? Are they trying to protect the people, or like why all those crazy
red tape?
Yeah, I mean, like the red tape makes sense, kind of, but it's like you kind of need to empathize with the people going through it, I think is what the message is there.
Yeah, so mine, I really focused a lot on the hidden parts of design and how those things becomes character in a movie. So I focused a lot on like fashion and architecture and things like that.
Cool.
So this movie, Downsizing, which actually came in 2017, but I didn't see it until during the pandemic.
Nice.
Yeah.
That's why it's the Raisies.
Yeah. So this one is starring Matt Damon and by director Alexander Payne. I think that's what the name is. So this one thing that I really like about this movie is their approach to this whole climate change, issue that we're dealing with. And if you think about it, like, what we're supposed to do is like eat less meat and dairy, cut back on flying, leave our car at home and, ride our bike or take the transit, reduce energy saving, invest, save money, all that kind of stuff we're supposed to do. But it's very difficult to do. And there's actually a book called Learning to Die in the Anthropocene by Roy Scranton. And he's actually a war veteran who basically wrote a really amazing book on like all the the problems of society and also solutions. Like he actually lists solutions on the things that we're supposed to do. But then he claims that after we've done all of this, we still can't save, the world. So in this movie, Downsizing, what they're proposing is keep what you're doing, but just downsize it. And if you think about downsizing, which is like spend less, which people don't want to do, this time you keep what you're spending, but then you shrink the human being into
your footprint shrinks. Yeah.
Like I think
That's
the
cool.
idea was like to shrink people to like maybe 5 centimeters or something like that, and then you can keep doing what you're doing, but live like And then also when you shrink, even though you're a poor person or a middle class, you can still like live like a rich person. So I like that approach to like the things around us and like homes, the cars we drive, the clothing we wear, and the roles they play in life, and then also how they affect the climate and things like that. Yeah.
That's cool. Downsizing. Gotta watch that. Reminds me of minimalism.
Yeah, like it's basically minimalism. And
Yeah.
if you look at some of the things people are doing, it's bonkers. Like there was this girl who like doesn't even make trash at all. Like her life is so minimal, like she doesn't make no trash. Yeah, it's like one of those approaches.
Interesting.
Yeah.
Yeah, there's all these types of techniques. Like with minimalism, it's like, you only wear the same T-shirt, once every few days or something like that. Because like, how many T-shirts do you need? Type of thing. So, like, have like 5 T-shirts, have 5 sweaters. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, whatever climate you need, minimize that clothing item.
Yeah.
Have a few.
Well, it reduces your spending. It for sure. And like there's another one too that I read was about you reduce your life to like 100 things. So like a set of cutlery is one thing, a set of plates is like one thing, pots and pans, that would be one thing, because you actually need numerous of those items. Because otherwise you'd have like half of your 100 things would be a cutlery set, but then like everything else that you have would just be add up to 100 things. So it kind of makes you assess, like, do you actually need that item? Anyways, we got to get back to the show, the Raisies. So going down a rabbit hole.
Okay, the next award.
Yep.
I'm going to give out the next award. I'm calling it the Best Trilogy No One's Ever Heard Of award.
Nice.
And the Raisie goes to the Before series. I don't know if you guys have heard of the Before series, but it's a set of 3 movies because, trilogy. First one is Before Sunrise. Second is Before Sunset. And the third is Before Midnight. They all take place. It's interesting. They take place 9 years apart. So, spoiler alert, I don't want to give away the whole plot, so I'm going to give away high level plot details. It's these two people, and they meet in their 20s on a train in Vienna. And every 9 years, they meet in a different city in Europe. And so in each of the three movies, it's like one long conversation, and it's like, which is interesting. It's not like a rom-com. It's not your typical romance movie. It's super philosophical. The director is Richard Linklater. He did Boyhood, another one of his projects where he recorded the main actor. It's this kid for 11 years. But anyway, different project. He also did Dazed and Confused. He did Waking Life. Very smart director, interesting style, super philosophical. But yeah, so the whole plot for each of the movies is just a conversation about life between these two people. And it looks at like how rare a real connection is. And so the main actors are Ethan Hawke and Julie Delpy. And it also looks at like the stages of relationships, right? So it gets heavy at times. It's like super therapeutic. Highly recommend it.
Yeah, I've seen them. Yeah, they're really good. Yeah.
When did it come
out? Make you really think.
Yeah, so Before Sunrise was in 95, Before Sunset was in 2004, and 2013 was Before Midnight. So every 9 years. And yeah, so it's interesting because you grow with the characters, like they age just as the actors age. It's definitely worth it. Watch it with your sweetie. It's good therapy.
Yeah, it's a warm and fuzzy movie.
It is. They have that vibe for sure.
All right. I guess switching gears, best TV comedy, in my opinion, was TV show Truth Seekers. It's a British show. Yeah. It has Nick Frost and Simon Pegg in it. So Nick Frost's character, he's a cable repairman or installer. And so he has like his cable truck that he drives around this British town in. And his side projects is he has this YouTube channel where he does like ghost hunting stuff, where he never actually gets any views or actually catches any ghosts or anything like that. So the whole project's a bit of a bust until he stumbles upon this one particular job with his trainee, who's played by, what was his trainee's name? Anyways, with his trainee, and they just get pulled into this whole mystery that's like kind of unfolding in this town, and they're both very ill-equipped to actually deal with anything that is in front of them, and they just kind of like fumble their way through the entire horror mystery that's in front of them. Yeah, it's a good show. Truth Seekers.
Cool.
And then just to kind of round out my TV categories, this one is It's a Shame They Canceled This TV Show category. It's called it's the American version of the show Utopia.
Okay.
So it's a science fiction drama. It's adapted by the Gillian Flynn series of the same name, and it was on Amazon Prime. So it was so basically there's this cult comic book called Utopia, and that's kind of was like released through mysterious circumstances over the years, and it kind of like gives these hints of like what's happening and like this kind of global conspiracy, and people kind of, the fans of this comic book kind of really internalize it and follow it. And they believe that what is being revealed through this comic book is true, and kind of like a coded message that's trying to kind of speak to like who's actually kind of running the world and kind of controlling the world. And eventually in the first episode, you kind of realize that this actually has some merit to it. And then you kind of go on this roller coaster ride of them trying to expose it while trying to get like access to the next issue, who someone else has it, and they have to find it so they can get the new clues in the new comic book to actually unlock what's going to happen next. And it's such like a really good mystery on kind of like tying in like that whole comic book culture with a mystery in a TV show. And it's done so well. The acting is really great. Yeah, highly recommend it.
What year is it from?
It's like 2020.
Oh,
yeah, very recently.
Pretty new. It's fresh.
Very fresh, yeah. Very modern. Yeah, it came out in 2020. I think the pandemic kind of with everything shifting around with production schedules on TV shows, I think,
Mm-hmm.
given that it was like a one season show, it kind of got canceled that way, I think. I don't know for sure.
Makes sense.
It's kind of a shame though that they canceled it. It was so good and it set up a second season so well.
Is it Netflix?
It's on Amazon Prime.
Okay.
Yeah.
Netflix goes through phases where like they cancel shows after like a season. It's like,
Yeah, it's so annoying.
that's enough.
Yeah.
That's why I don't get invested until there's like 9 seasons.
But some of the really good movies are like those movies that sometimes they're so good, but for some reason they don't get funding, or
Respect.
perhaps maybe people didn't watch it.
Yeah,
For sure.
I kind of like the short ones where they go into it thinking that, yeah, no, we're only going to do like one season. That's it.
Mm-hmm.
It's just like a prolonged movie. You're able to
Right.
actually like explore the characters and the plot.
Like the miniseries, right?
Yeah, miniseries, yeah.
Next, Raisy.
Yeah, next Raisy. The last two ideas that I have, the role that architecture plays in telling these stories. This is the movie Parasite by Korean director Bong Joon-ho.
Great movie.
I even watched it several times where there was a time I paid attention to the story. And then the second time was like the architecture. The whole movie is a question based on who is a parasite. Like, is it the rich family, which is, so there's the Kim's family, which is the poor family, and then the Park family, which is the rich family. And then underneath the Kim family, there's a lower class of people, which even in the movie, they don't even mention their names because they're so not important that they probably didn't. So Parasite tells a story of class through architecture. Even how the homes are designed. There was a time in Korea where they allowed people to build bunkers. I'm not sure exactly why those bunkers. Perhaps maybe had to do something with war.
The North Korean War, there's a bunch of bomb shelters, especially if you're up near the north, like near
By the
Seoul.
border.
Yeah. So in the rich man's house, Mr. Park's house, there's a bunker beneath the house. And again, like the building is such that it's very minimal. So it gives you the aesthetic of they're transparent. Like you know all the hidden secrets. You can see them through the glass. But underneath the house is hidden stuff that even the people that live in the house have no idea that there are people living underneath the house. And then how even the people who were supposed to be the servants treat people below them.
Like they're on a hilltop, right?
Right.
Yeah.
And even the house has like the way that lawn is structured is that it's kind of ladders up to the actual house. Like there's layers below it. Like the garage is below the actual house. Even like the lawn kind of slopes down in a way, and there's a second level to the lawn. Right. So even the house itself is built upon a pyramid in itself, and
right.
Yeah. And then like the people who live underneath it are kind of like the forgotten backs who they stand on in order to actually have that position in life.
Yeah. Yeah. And then when you come to the home of where the Kim family live, which is the semi-basement, which is, so you've come down to the bottom where all the poor people live, and they even live under the semi-basement. Yeah, you have to like sit down and then suck it in. It's really well done.
There's layers to that film. Like I remember watching it in the theater, and like there was moments where the crowd was like gasping, but yeah, it explores human nature, right? It looks at the ugliness from any social class, like who is the parasite, like you mentioned before.
Yeah, I always love it when they use a visual metaphor to tell a story.
Yeah, and then the level of what people are willing to do to get to the top.
Yeah, and it explores like greed versus like jealousy and envy, like ruthlessness. Like politics and social dynamics. Yeah. It's a good film.
Yeah.
Good award.
So my movie of the year would be Dune, which probably everybody's seen. Nothing surprising. So similar to Parasite, it's just more of like that visual landscape, and the visual metaphors just get played out in that movie are fantastic. I think I saw it like 3 times.
Oh wow!
Just 2022. Yeah, I would have seen it more, but I would just space it out, just so that it's like as fresh as I can make it without overwatching the movie. Yeah.
Did you see the first one?
Yeah, there's the
Like
first
the
one.
old one.
Oh, the 80s one. No,
Yeah.
I don't want to because I think it might ruin it. Kind of hesitant to.
Well, it'll give you a
Yeah.
different
Maybe.
perspective.
I just want to read the book. I'll do it that way. I'll do it
You're one of
properly.
those.
I'll read the book. Yeah.
Fair enough. Yeah. Well, if you get a chance, check out the 80s one. It's different, we'll put it that way. But I think it adds a different perspective to the story. Next Raisy, we'll call it the Cool Travel Show You Have to Watch Award. This is going to Searching for Italy with Stanley Tucci. So Stanley Tucci is an actor. He's been in a few films, which I can't name off the top of my head, but you've seen him around. And he replaces Anthony Bourdain, rest in peace, Anthony Bourdain, as the CNN's like main like food travel host. So he is Italian on both sides of his family, and he explores the 20 different regions of Italy and how food plays a part in each region. They're all pretty dramatically different for a country. Keep in mind, Italy's pretty young. The Kingdom of Italy was united in 1861, so it's only like 160 years old.
Oh wow!
Yeah, people think Italy is ancient, but parts of it are ancient. It was a bunch of different kingdoms that were very separated for, I'd say, most of human history.
Yeah, Italy's a pretty modern country. Yeah,
it is. Garibaldi, Giuseppe, he was a general. He campaigned to unite Italy, or the Italic Peninsula, as we know it. That's hence the name Italy, right? But anyway, so not Bourdain. Stanley Tucci goes to each region. So cheese pizza or margherita pizza comes from Naples. And he explores why it became a thing there. Naples suffered from a lot of like diseases, so they deep fried their bread and added some cheese, and hey, pizza. Cappuccino comes from Milan. It had influences from the Austro-Hungarian Empire and like more like Northern European stuff. Florentine steak and gelato in Tuscany. Bolognese pasta, also known as mortadella, or bologna as Americans call it. In the south, you had influences from the Arabs. You had France, Austria, Switzerland in the north. So all these interesting like genetic things. Like Italians are not like one group of people. They're very diverse. And like you see genetic studies where these Italian who are Italian by heritage, they take a DNA test and it's like, I'm only 9% Italian. What the hell? Because there's so many mixes in that country. It's not like one homogenous group. But check out Searching for Italy.
Did he find it?
Very cool. He found it. He found different parts of it.
Oh, okay. Sure. Yeah. Spoiler alert. He finds it in the end. Yeah.
Spoiler alert.
It's just south of Switzerland.
Depending what angle you're coming from.
Once you find the mountains, just head south. Yeah.
How many episodes?
It's 2 seasons. I think it's like 6 episodes a season.
Oh, it took him that long to find Italy?
He was searching.
Yeah.
But he does a good job.
He got such a good job to find it. It's funny.
Well, it only took 2 seasons. I think he's
All
on
right.
season 3 coming up. So
yeah, just kind of wrap up our music category, which apparently is pretty small this year. So my favorite music moment, it's a bit of a trend. I was in Bari, Italy, which is an old European city. Very beautiful city too. If you ever get the chance to go, highly recommend it. And it was in the middle of August. And we're just kind of wandering around the city, which is like a maze because this is built before cars. And we stumbled upon this outdoor concert with Arouj Aftab, who's an Arabic musician. She won a Grammy, and it was such an excellent performance. And I just remember so vividly that one performance, just kind of stumbling upon a free outdoor concert, and then just having such a great musician and her band just kind of putting on an amazing show. It was probably the best concert I've seen in a long, long time. Yeah.
Cool. Sounds like some good energy there.
Yeah.
Yeah, I can do a music one as well. I like musicians who tend to try to push the envelope a bit and like change their artistry into a way where it's more experimental. And there are few artists that usually try and do that for me. Like you have like Miles Davis, Robert Glasper.
Legends.
Yeah, and I think even with the young generation, like the the one that to me this year, which is the reason why I bring him up for my Raisies, is Kendrick Lamar's new album, Mr. Morale, the Big Steppers. This album is a bit different in the sense like it's not like your music that you listen to, like you want to dance to it, or you. It's more like going to an art gallery and looking at images on a wall, or like a play, right? Because the way he structured each song, like you can't just personally for me, I wouldn't listen to it with shuffle, because I think he actually organized it in sections, which one follows the next.
It's a concept album.
Yeah, it's like a really well done concept album. There was one track, I don't really remember the name of the track, but it was an argument between two couples. And I'm like, how did you even write this song? Like, there's no way you can sit down and write it, because they start the argument and then it gets to a level where they're really high, and then they come to a resolution at the end.
Huh. That's cool.
Interesting.
Yeah.
Interesting.
So it's a song that you wouldn't listen to it to dance to, but it's like a really good driving song, like, or you're home, you're just washing the dishes or something, and you just listen to it.
Yeah, it's like a road trip album.
Yeah, you wash your dishes to people arguing.
Yeah, but like, it's like, wow, how did you write this? Like, because you have to remember, like, okay, what am I going to say next after this? And then it has to rhyme to the argument. Like, how do you rhyme with an argument?
Yeah, well, I mean, Shakespeare did that a lot with his stuff. Like, it was all poetic. Like,
True.
when the characters would go back and forth with each other.
Yeah.
Like, you would have Romeo and Juliet, and you can kind of tell when their relationship is, like, kind of getting in sync, because before it'd be, like, Romeo talking for a while, then it'd be Juliet talking for a while, and the next thing to be, like, playing off each other, like, one line, one line, one line, one line.
Yeah.
And that's when you kind of tell that they're, like, playing off each other, because they're, like, it's using iambic pentameter as a rhyming scheme, and it's like they're syncing up as lovers, basically.
And I think
together,
like,
they're united.
With these type of artists, like what they're doing, it's not like they're trying to copy somebody else, but they're trying to be unique in their own.
Yeah, Kendrick Lamar does that like amazingly well. Yeah, he's hip hop, but he's pushing that genre to a place that I don't think many really thought that someone could really push it to.
Right.
Like I mean, there has been many people who have pushed hip hop further along, and we all know who they are. But Kendrick Lamar, the way that he's pushing it is very unique to him and how he's doing it.
And then also the topics that he talks about, which a lot of the times, like, we tend to hide these stories. Like, a story about his auntie being a lesbian, and we don't talk about this stuff. Right.
Right.
And the way he approaches the story and talks about it is so well done that you listen to it and you're like, wait, I kind of know somebody like that.
For sure. He's done concept albums like as a young artist. He's did a bunch of them, or at least one main one. I think it's, correct me if I'm wrong, forget the name of it, but it's like, a day in the life of a gangster or gangbanger and his friends. But just the idea of a whole album telling a story like chronologically. So every song, kind of like a TV show, you can't miss this episode. You can't miss this song in the order of the album because it tells a story, right? So that's part of the experimentation you were saying, Kojo, about Kendrick. How he's ahead of his time.
Yeah.
Or not willing to take risks, at least.
Right.
All good artists do.
I have a music one. I'm just going to toss this in here. Impromptu award. Best song that I couldn't get out of my head this year award. It's called Finish Line by Stevie Wonder and Elton John. I think it came out during COVID. I want to say last year. And it's these two musical legends, releasing a new song, and it has that classic essence from both of them. They collaborated when they were younger, and in the music video you see them like as young men and now as older men, and that's what the whole song is about. It's like going through the journey. So you kind of see that in their friendship, but also the lyrics of the song, especially during the COVID themes. It's just like, power through. The finish line is there. It's got the themes of, your loved ones, whether it's relationships or whatever. So, I couldn't get out of my head for a while, but shout out to those two legends, right?
Yeah.
Wow. Stevie is the man. Like,
he is.
That guy has like all these songs that he's not even released. Like,
what about Bleeding Gums Murphy? He was a good musician. My another music category, Raisy, is best sub music genre.
Oh boy.
Chill hop.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, it's chill,
right?
And it's hip hop influence.
Yeah,
chill
it's
hop.
Good. It's good if you're hosting friends or something.
Yeah, it's good.
Dinner parties.
Mike plays it all the time. That's how I got into it. Yeah, every time you go over to Mike's house, he's always playing chill hop.
It's when I host my sexy dinner parties.
Yeah, it's dinner parties. Would anyone like some Pinot Noir?
I call them like conversational, because they're in the background. You don't have to really pay attention to it playing, and it kind of gives that whole atmospheric.
It fits any moment.
Vibe.
Yeah. Like whether dinner party, trying to do like you're in a police chase and you're trying to like get away from the cops, like anywhere in between, like it just fits every moment. Yeah.
All the moments.
Yeah. I think everyone who's listening should put this on their lists as in the next revolutionary dance, and then also genre that is going to actually revolutionize like music, which is Amapiano from South Africa.
Okay.
It's a very chill, like it has a very chill vibe. Its foundation is basically like, Western house, deep house music. But then it comes with an angle from South Africa, which stems from a previous genre called Kwaito. So Kwaito, it's still house music, but it's African influenced. And usually they do that with character dance, it's like a dance where you're mimicking actions, right? Like you're doing more mowing the lawn, so like sweeping the streets. So they do these characters. So usually when you're watching on a piano dance, which stems from the Kwaito music, you'd see them doing facial expressions, which mimics the song being played. And then also the song has it starts very mellow, and there's always a bass that comes, which basically becomes the signature of the song. So if you're not used to the song, you think all the songs sound the same, but they're very different.
Mm-hmm. How do you spell it?
Amapiano. So AMA and then piano.
Okay. I'm gonna check it out. Could expand the eclectic music tastes.
Yeah, it's actually really like it really blew up during the pandemic because everyone was home, and so there are these two DJs from South Africa, and they started doing like balcony mix. So they would go to someone's balcony and then just do a mix, and then it caught on, and then they started like moving around places like I think one of their first tours was outside South Africa, was Ghana, which Ghana is now becoming the Ibiza of Africa at the moment. And then they went to Nigeria, and then from there to London, and then to San Francisco.
Cool.
Yeah.
My first result on my YouTube search is the balcony mix.
Yeah.
At the Soho House in London.
Yeah.
It's two dudes. Interesting.
And it's changing how DJ is being done, because there are some DJs who I don't think they're DJing. I think they're just dancing.
Yeah.
Interesting.
Do they also have like a veranda mix, patio mix, porch mix? Last question. Does the music change based on the front outdoor area you are standing on?
That's interesting.
Rooftop mix.
Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. Like, well, but the location of the outdoor place of your house, like, back deck mix,
the market mix,
front lawn,
semi basement mix.
Yeah, semi basement mix. Yeah,
basement.
Yeah, with the Kim family, featuring the Kim family.
The director of Parasite. I forget his name. Must-watch sports documentary. Raisi goes to a documentary called The Redeem Team. It's out on Netflix. Check it out. I'm sure you've heard of the Dream Team. It's a 1992 Olympic basketball team, U.S. Olympic basketball team. So the whole idea behind that team, it's considered the greatest team, the sports team ever assembled. It's basically a collection of NBA legends, so Michael Jordan, Scottie Pippen, Charles Barkley, Magic Johnson, Larry Bird, the list goes on and on. All the 80s and 90s stars were recruited to showcase American quote-unquote basketball to the world. America was always dominant at basketball, but they were sending their amateur athletes, which is what the Olympics is, but they were losing to like these grown men from the USSR, the Soviet Union. And so the NBA came in and were like, well, we have a pretty good product. We're going to showcase it at the Olympics. They were able to send these professional guys, and they were just dominating teams, like winning by 50 points. People were looking for autographs, and that's really what made basketball so globalized around the world. It was a genius marketing strategy by the commissioner at the time, David Stern. Anyway, so after that, the kids who were watching that in Barcelona, the Olympics at the time were in Barcelona, but the kids who were watching that grew up, and they had dreams of their own, being inspired by Michael Jordan, and they were joining their national basketball teams, and they ended up beating these prima donna superstars from the Team USA. So like they were losing to like Greece and Spain and Puerto Rico, and so American basketball fans and the world was going, what is going on? So Team USA put together a program saying, okay, like we can't be the ugly Americans. We have to compete with the rest of the world at our game, but like, international basketball rules were a little different. Anyway, in the documentary, you see like baby LeBron, not baby, but he was infinite. He was an infant in his career, and Carmelo Anthony and all these guys, and they end up recruiting Kobe Bryant to join the team. And at the time, Kobe Bryant wasn't very liked. He was, coming off a court case. He didn't have any friends in the league. But you see, like, the bonding of these superstars, like, and welcoming Kobe Bryant. And that's what, it was like the next chapter of the Kobe Bryant story. There's one story in the documentary, spoiler alert, where they're in Las Vegas training. And, they're going out to the club. It's 4 a.m. and they're coming back to the hotel. And Kobe Bryant's got his workout gloves on, and he's getting ready to do drills. And they're like, where are you going? He's like, I'm going to the gym. And so Carmelo Anthony's like, I'm not going to the gym. It's 4 a.m. I'm going to sleep, right? But then, like, a few days later, it's 4 or 5 a.m. and you see all the guys joining Kobe at the gym, and they're bonding, and you see like that next level of athletic greatness and, the quote unquote legend of Kobe. Anyway, long story short, this team has a different culture. They sort of build that, an identity. And it's not just like, look how good the NBA players are. It's like, this is U.S. basketball. So it's a cool story, especially if you're into sports.
I should have known you would make a basketball reference at some point, Mike.
Have I ever talked about basketball? Or is that a thing I discuss often?
He probably sleeps with a basketball in his bed.
Should I switch to soccer? I could switch to soccer.
Basketball themed bed sheets.
Boxer shorts.
Yeah, exactly. He has a nightmare. No, Kobe, don't hit that 3-point shot. Go for the pass.
81 points. Not again. Cold sweats and all. Rest in peace, Kobe. I feel like I've been saying rest in peace a lot this episode, but I guess it's part of the Raisies spirit. Honor the greats.
Did you watch
one of the not so greats?
Did you watch the N1 documentary?
Yeah,
that one was good.
Yeah, I didn't know about that.
Yeah, do you guys want to talk about it? Could give it a word.
Yeah, we'll just make up a word for that. Yeah,
go for it.
Episode from a documentary series.
The rise and fall of N1.
Are they still around? The company?
They are. They sold it to I don't know, some rich guys, but they're not really doing much, to be honest.
Yeah, so the series is called Untold.
Right.
And the episode title is called The Rise and Fall of And One. Yeah, and And one during, I even remember that from when I was in high school. Like, I remember all the kids having them. I wasn't really into basketball as a kid, so I never really got into it. But yeah, it was such a popular shoe and brand, and street basketball was just kind of came onto the scene as like a way to kind of fill the void, because there was a strike that year, and that's when they kind of came into the scene, like really came into the scene, and they did this whole street basketball thing and kind of brought basketball into like this very technical kind of like playability, like where, you know, they would go through the legs, and it's more about kind of like that showmanship to it.
Yep. The street culture of it.
Yeah. I had the opportunity. Yeah, I had the opportunity to see a team play.
Oh yeah.
And it was like unreal. Like, this is pretty much
Yeah, I
like
bet.
what, like I would say Brazil, the soccer players, like, you know,
The creativity.
yeah, like it's a whole different like
Yeah.
move, like
Street style.
yeah,
And it's very much like in the documentary they say it's like the everyman, right? Because the N1 player, they couldn't make the NBA because they didn't have the, I guess maybe not the height, maybe not the amount of skill, but they had different types of skills. They had the showmanship, and they had the spirit of, you know, playground basketball.
Yeah.
And that's what made N1
and apparently
the brand.
yeah, a lot of the moves is like illegal, like you can't do it
Yeah. They would
It
use
just
their
adds- it's
shirt to
entertaining.
kind of like whip the ball around. Yeah.
It's like, that's a travel.
Yeah. But like, I'm surprised like no one's really kind of re-tapped into that sport. I mean, you could easily tap into that and market it and kind of have this your own kind of street basketball league, you know.
You can. Well, in the documentary, spoiler alert again, the fall part of the N1 underdog story is when Nike taps into it, and they just have this giant budget, and they get these commercials, and then they bring NBA players to do the street moves, and it's like, we can't compete with that. So that pretty much put N1 out of business when other companies were like, yeah, we could do this too. So it is what it is.
I kind of also find like a lot of the things too that usually comes from the especially like the Black community is always looked down upon, because it's like, you know, like if you want to dance, you have to learn formal dancing. If you want to sing, you have to learn formal singing. So your style of singing is bad. And I think it's the same thing as that. I mean, it's still playing basketball, and like again, like Alex, you mentioned, we could create a category of just that sport.
Yeah.
Because it's looked down upon, it's not really being glorified.
Yeah, because it's not this polished thing. It's rough. It's from the streets. It's you know,
there are no rules.
Like it embodies like that hip hop culture too, right?
Yeah.
You know, where it's more of like that spur of the moment kind of vibe. What you're feeling, bring that to the floor.
Yeah.
It's pure.
Yeah.
It's very pure.
Yeah. And I mean, that's like a lot of like in terms of like Black American like art that's been created. I mean, we're talking like blues, which influence pretty much everything on the charts right now.
Yep.
Yeah, including
Jazz.
country music, jazz. Yep. And I mean, those two things are, you would not have modern day Western music without either one of those genres. You wouldn't even have hip hop without that.
Yeah.
And that's hip hop is just in my opinion, it's just the modern version of jazz.
Right.
Hip hop was the original N1 of music. Right? it's a good analogy, I think.
Yeah.
Right? Like it was just.
I would give hip hop a little more credit, but because like wasn't N1 from more of the hip hop kind of
It's the
vibe
graffiti
and mentality, right?
which is the same
You know
thing.
what I
Like
mean.
like I'm saying, like
Fashion from it. Yeah.
because it's looked down upon, it's not really glorified. Remember when here in Toronto, graffiti was like illegal to do, and then now
Yeah.
we celebrate.
Wow.
it.
Now you have Graffiti Alley.
Yeah.
Yeah, but that's what I mean though. So eventually, it went from being the quote unquote N1 of the street music, and now it's mainstream. It's everywhere. Now it's Nike, right? Hip hop is the Nike of music now. Music genres. Like they're the rock stars now.
Yeah.
Whereas in the the 80s, it was like, what is this sound from the streets of New York? People didn't know.
Okay, so that concludes part 1 of the Raisies. Check out part 2 coming up next, and we'll explore more random awards that you never thought that there could be an award for. Like, well, pretty much anything could have an award if you really think about it. We'll see you next week. Bye.